everyone, my name is Kathleen Keogh and I'm currently in my final semester of my graduate degree at McDaniel College, which is focusing on teaching English to speakers of other languages. So before I begin speaking a little bit about my TESOL portfolio, I'd like to give a brief background of who I am and how I became interested in teaching English to speakers of other languages. So I am 24 years old and I'm from Bergen County, New Jersey, which is just about 25 minutes outside of Manhattan. And as a child, I was very active. I played recreational and competitive travel soccer basically my entire childhood, and I also played lacrosse, basketball, and softball as a child. At the age of 16, I began practicing yoga, and I've been completely in love with the practice ever since. So I recently obtained my 200-hour yoga teacher training certificate. I also graduated from Towson University in 2018 with a journalism degree and a minor in Spanish. So I had no idea that I would be interested in teaching English as a second language. However, after graduation, I knew I wanted to continue developing my Spanish language abilities because I was lucky enough to attend a public school system in Bergen County, New Jersey, which began instructing foreign languages at the age of 8. So I had been studying Spanish from the age of 8 to 18 in a public school. I then continued my Spanish language development with a minor at Towson University. And after graduating from college in 2018, I really wanted to continue developing that and use my Spanish in a sort of contextual way. So I made the decision to move to Madrid, Spain 2 months after my college graduation, where I accepted a position as a language and culture assistant, which basically just means that I was assisting English instruction at a local public elementary school in Madrid, Spain. I soon realized in Madrid that teaching and being in a classroom is something that I thoroughly enjoy. So when I moved home about a year later, I began instructing adult ESL classes at a nonprofit in Bronx, New York. I realized there that I would be interested in teaching English as a second language for my career, and I soon enrolled in McDaniel's TESOL graduate program. One of the many things that I love about ESL instruction is that I am constantly learning from my students as well as instructing them. So I've had my eyes open to numerous different cultures, languages, and religions that I'm not sure I would have even known existed had I not been instructing ESL. Working with a diverse group of students is very rewarding and educational for me as well as the students in the classroom. So as for my TESOL portfolio, one of the artifacts that I'm going to discuss today is the 5th standard, which is professionalism, and I selected a presentation that I created for my Introduction to Special Education course at McDaniel College, which I took in my second to last semester of my graduate degree. I selected this artifact specifically because I was very proud of the quality and engaging qualities of my presentation. I also stepped out of my comfort zone for this artifact because I really had no knowledge of this topic before doing my research to create this presentation. So something I liked about this presentation is how versatile it is because it could be given to a variety of audiences. So for example, special education teachers could benefit from watching this presentation, as well as administrators and content teachers alike. An important aspect of the TESOL professionalism standard is that educators utilize a variety of research-based L2 teaching strategies and methods. So this presentation executed this standard well because of the research-based methods and strategies that I highlighted throughout the presentation. So for example, I included a lot of phonological awareness methods that ESL instructors or foreign language instructors should teach their students in order for them to acquire the sounds needed to be able to learn the targeted language that they're in class for. So not only can these strategies be used for students with learning disabilities, but they can also be utilized with students who are simply struggling with language instruction. Language learning is becoming increasingly important for administrators and educators to be knowledgeable on because of the amount of schools requiring language instruction for graduation. This is also important because of the growing amount of English language learners in American public schools. This artifact advocates for English language learners and students with learning disabilities, which makes this artifact especially relevant to almost all educational settings. So my aha moment of this presentation was realizing how equipped I have become throughout the completion of my graduate degree. So one thing I realized from this TESOL portfolio course is how much my projects and artifacts have improved since I first began this graduate program over a year ago. So my aha moment occurred when I was finding my artifacts for my TESOL portfolio class and comparing my artifacts to the ones I completed in my first semester of my graduate degree compared to the final semesters of my graduate degree. So this project was a compilation of multiple courses information, specifically linguistics, my learning instruction course, as well as my special education course. So my aha moment was realizing how much I've learned, how I'm able to apply that knowledge that I have learned, and how I can utilize this knowledge to educate others. The second artifact that I'm going to be talking about is my assessment artifact, which is the fourth standard of the TESOL standards. So for the fourth standard assessment, I selected an assignment where I created 2 formative assessments to measure the success of my adult English language learners. So I consider a lot of my instructional methods to be constructivist. This means that I incorporate my students' background, culture, and prior knowledge into their learning. I also ask my students to play an active role in their learning where I act as a guide in their learning. So the first formative assessment that I utilized in this project specifically was asking students to create a map of their neighborhood to practice places in town vocabulary, as well as directional vocabulary, such as the pharmacy is on the corner. Students were able to utilize their prior knowledge of their neighborhood to aid the acquisition of this English grammar and vocabulary. The second formative assessment in this project was a project where students designed an outfit and presented the outfit to the class, as well as wrote a brief paragraph about the outfit that they designed. So many of the students in the class ended up taking the project home and drawing beautiful pictures and images of the outfit that they designed. So this allowed students to incorporate creativity into the project and to allow for more autonomy in the project as well. Each outfit was unique and detailed, which I appreciated from my students. And I had a second aha moment when I completed this artifact because before beginning this graduate program, I struggled to assess my adult English language learners. So the nonprofit where I used to work did not administer any standardized exams or unit exams. So almost all of the assessments of my adult English language learners were authentic and formative. So I used to struggle to measure my students' success because I didn't have a lot of knowledge regarding different types of assessments. My aha moment was realizing that tests and exams are not the only way to measure students' success, which is especially true with English language learners. So what is next? So as for my future as an ESL instructor, I'm beginning a new position at a local community college here in New Jersey, and I'm hopeful that this will open more doors to an elementary school ESL teaching position. I look forward to carrying the strategies, pedagogies, and instructional methods that I've gathered during my time at McDaniel College. I'm eager to advocate for my ESL students and to inform other educators about the importance of ESL instruction and how they can help their English language learners in content classes as well. I will utilize my students' prior knowledge, their L1 or their first language, and experiences to aid the acquisition of their English language abilities. Having more knowledge about linguistics, assessments, culturally responsive teaching, and scaffolding has been eye-opening and made me realize how much my instruction could be improved and how I can be a better instructor for my English language learners. I can also be a better colleague by educating other teachers and administrators on the information I have learned and how they can incorporate that into their own instruction as well as into policymaking. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch this presentation. I hope you learned a little bit more about me and my TESOL portfolio, as well as how much I've grown over the last months that I have been completing my graduate degree. So thank you very much for taking the time, and take care.